Thank you for joining me, Danielle. So we actually met in November at ComplexCon.
Yeah. First of all, I'm so happy to reconnect with you. So thank you for this opportunity. Woo! My sneakers are
We're happy too.
Yeah, right. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you and get to know you better too. So I am a journalist. I've been asking people questions for a decade. I've been asking actors, writers, entrepreneurs, politicians, therapists, people of all industries questions. I had a Google Doc of 800 questions, things that I had asked people throughout the years. And at one point, I think I was 25. I got what I thought was my dream job. I moved from Chicago to LA when I was 22, really hustled, lived in a garage, had no money, like the whole LA story. So when I got this dream job and I was the youngest person they ever hired, I thought, this is it. Like, this is why I came to LA. I can't believe it's happening so early. I made it. And I got there and it was horrible. I broke out into hives every day. I would cry in the bathroom at lunch. And I thought, oh my God, like, this is what I worked so hard for. This is why I haven't slept. This is why I gave up all my friends' birthday parties. Actually, I quit. Mm-hmm. And I was living off my credit cards. And I don't know if you've ever done that before, but
I almost said not yet because I'm still in college. So I'm like, not yet, but no, hopefully that doesn't have to happen.
I hope you never do. Sometimes it happens when you take a bet on yourself. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you have to like really know what you're getting into. And there's definitely anxiety that goes along with it.
It's the price you pay, right? It's like, it's that leap, so to speak, because without it, you wouldn't be where you are, today.
Exactly. So, I was unemployed, living off my credit cards. And I looked at that Google Doc and I thought to myself, I ask people questions for a living, and I've never asked myself one question. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm going to ask myself 5 or 6 of these a day. And by the end of 8 months, I was like, I am so much more interesting. I have so much more to say. I'm way more practiced at asking questions. I would go to dinner parties with friends and I was like, I have a lot to ask them, a lot to say. And I thought, I think everybody wants this. Everybody wants to have deep connection, to feel like they made an impact on somebody, to really make a moment instead of just having like regular small talk. But I think this deck is like super valuable, especially coming out of COVID, to like really connect with people and be more practiced at asking questions. And then once your brain starts working like that, like you go out into the world and you're ready.
So I want to take it back to like making that jump, right? You graduated college and then you moved to LA to pursue hosting. Was it just, was it the Miley Cyrus party in the USA, jumped off the plane at LAX, was it?
I was wearing a cardigan. I do.
Or was it, was it more like small town girl living in? Was it that, or what, if you had like a song to like sort of like talk about, or that really encapsulates that experience, what would it be?
It was a little bit of both of those two, actually, because I got off the plane and I did have a big dream, and I think I was wearing a cardigan. I think it was a red cardigan, which is so embarrassing, but I was also really lonely. Like, I didn't know one person. I lived in a garage. I had no money. I had no clue. Like, I didn't know where to start even. And I kind of gave myself a year timeline in my mind. I was like, if I find some traction within a year, then I'll stay and keep going. And I did odd jobs and like really kind of did anything I could to make it work. And eventually landed, I can tell you the whole, I don't want to bore you, but I can tell you the whole long story about how I sent people cookies and bamboo plants so that they would respond to my emails. But eventually I got a job at Clever TV, which was under Defy Media. It was like a big YouTube conglomerate.
Right.
And we did entertainment news and original shows. And that was like my first job. I think they paid me $51,000, which was not bad. And I had health insurance. In LA, it's a little tough to live on that, but it was a full-time gig and I learned so much.
So what was that? I really want to get into like the nitty gritty of the like, the day-to-day sort of the pursuit of the dream, right? Like you see the new Kanye West doc, we see him like hustling around Chicago.
I mean, one time I was in the studio with Lil Kim, and I was out here broke. I couldn't afford to get in a cab. And they told me Shine wanted me to play some beats. Like 20 blocks away, I grabbed my desk and ran to the studio because I didn't want him to leave before I got a chance to play up some beats, man. I was hungry, man. Before I had my car, I used to be walking to the train practicing my Grammy speech.
But what is like, how do you stay mentally, tough beyond just, we all beyond the dream, but like the day to day? Because as you've expressed, it's the day to day that can just really knock you out, or that make you want to book a flight back home.
That's such a great question. No one's ever asked me that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What is my honest answer?
I invite what journalist doesn't invite honesty, because there's like, it's like the glamorization of getting to where you want to be in life, and not realizing like the garage or the rented rooms or the the waitress job that you may have on the way. Because especially like me, like I'm always like looking at people that I admire, like their Wikipedias. I'm like, so they went from high school to college and then they were like, the star of Grey's Anatomy, like, you know what I mean? So
I'll have days where I feel unsure, insecure, or confused because there are moments where I'm making more money and there are moments where I'm making no money. And not that I think there's lots of currency. Like sometimes you have to learn more instead of earn more. I love that phrase. Money is not the only currency, but when you're trying to pay your rent and stuff, it definitely is a big part of it.
If only kindness was a currency.
Exactly. I love that. So my day-to-day happiness, there's a lot of joy. And I think that comes just from a place of gratitude, no matter what situation you're in. But there's a lot of uncertainty, unease, anxiety, sadness sometimes. I mean, like I was going to post something on social media the other day because my card deck sold out and people were so supportive and they were congratulating me. And I was like, I feel like I need to show the other side of this. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. My air conditioning and the dishwasher are broken. My landlord won't fix them. And my living room is the fulfillment center for the card deck and my sweatshirts that I am selling. So it's like, I'm still hustling, like it's not, I think about every penny I spend. I'm really trying to like be economical and thoughtful about building a business. And yeah, it's really hard. I don't think it's helpful to anybody to gloss over things. And if you look at my Instagram, you may not think that. So I think it's important to share.
And that's so, I mean, especially I'm like, Generation Z. I'm sure you're like on the cusp of that, like we're like a similar generation, and like Instagram is just has skewed. I'm 21, so we're decade. Okay, anyhow, 10, yeah. 21, 31. But Instagram, it's skewed our perception of success, of timelines, of just of the day to day. Like even I'm sure like LeBron James, like as amazing as his life is, I don't know why he came with all the people, like he came to my mind. As amazing as his life is, or it looks on the outside, I'm sure he has days when he's just like sitting on a couch scrolling through his phone. I think Instagram is like gives us the idea that we always are on, or we always have to be on to have a fulfilling life.
I think I fully agree with you, and I love what you said about skewed timelines, because I think it has skewed our perspective of what's realistic and all of that.
I think we just need to normalize life. Isn't that crazy? Like, let's just normalize life.
I love that. You're very wise for a college student.
Oh, thank you. We'll see once I hit my credit card phase.
That's when you call me, girl.
What was she talking about?
That's when you call me or email me and say, remember when we talked about that? What did you do?
Although, it is tough. There's a lot of like mental fortitude. You've had a lot of wins. So let's talk about the Larry King encounter. How do you view that? I mean, like I was able to interview Robin Roberts, like when I was like, that was like 2018. No, but I'm still talking about it though. Like, so I don't know if that's if that's the same effect that Larry King has on you. Like, I almost got stuck in that moment too. It's like, okay, like you interviewed Robin Roberts, but you're not her.
I mean, that time that I was unemployed, I decided to take myself to grad school. So I would watch hours of Katie Couric, Robin Roberts, Larry King, Barbara Walters, Bob Costas, people that I thought were doing it the best. Somebody once told me, don't watch somebody with bad habits because you'll pick them up. Only watch people who you think are doing it the best. So I watched hundreds of hours and I would write down notes, how they used their hands, how they phrased a question. I still want to be one of the best. And so I'm a student. I'm a forever student. And when I had the opportunity to meet Larry King, I mean, I had watched hundreds of hours of interviews, so it felt surreal, but he was incredibly kind and welcoming. He would eat 6 days a week with a group of friends that he had known for like 40 years at 3 different delis in Beverly Hills. And depending on the day, it was a different deli. And he would always order, like he had 2 orders. It was either Cheerios with blueberries or matzo brie. And I met him when he was eating his blueberries. And he asked me so many questions. He was one of the most genuinely curious people I'd ever met. And I asked him a ton about my career and about how to phrase things. But he, before he passed away, he actually signed this microphone for me, and I have it here. So it's really,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really special to me. And I owe him a ton. You know, he was a pioneer. I owe Simon Cowell like so much because he was the one that gave me an exclusive and got me my first job.
Right.
So,
I remember reading that.
Yeah, he doesn't know that, but I'm hoping I meet him one day so I can thank him.
So what was that interaction like? How was that interview arranged?
So early on, I had sent people cookies and bamboo plants and flowers. And
so let's talk about the cookies, the bamboo, and the flowers. Let's talk about the choice of of the gifts.
Yeah, that's
I know it's economical, credit card budget too, but
it was. I mean, I think I had probably like $8,000 in my bank account. And so I allotted like $1,000 to the gifts. And so I found like, a 1-800-Flowers that was like $35 for a flower arrangement, or a cookie place that was like $42 for cookies. And I would send people those gifts and write notes saying like, if you ever need somebody last minute, I'm available. I'm really eager to learn. And I know I can add value too. And I would give them my email address, and they would reply and be like, hi, Danielle, nice to meet you. Like, we don't have anything available, but we'll keep you in mind. And I would email them once in a while saying like, hey, here's my updated reel, which in journalism, if anybody doesn't know, is basically like your resume. And one day I got a call from an online entertainment outlet, and they were like, our host is sick. She can't come in. We have a red carpet in 2 hours. Can you do it? And I was like, yes, I'm in. So I ran home, got changed, put on a dress, put on fake eyelashes, and went to the X Factor red carpet. And it was there. Simon Cowell was the creator of X Factor. And we did the red carpet, and he gave me an exclusive about One Direction's wedding. I remember he told me he was singing at like one of the guys' weddings. And because of that, they hired me. So it was very serendipitous.
Extremely. So let's talk about, you do a lot of work in pop culture, interviews in pop culture, but I think the slogan that I believe it's your original saying is cerebral entertainment or something of that nature. Did I get it right?
Oh, look at you doing your research.
Of course. Cerebral. I mean, it really stuck out to me. It was like cerebral. What's the name? What was it?
Yeah, Cerebral Entertainment. Yeah.
How do you? I mean, and it's aligned with the idea of like pretty smart. Why is it important that we're having like cerebral conversations in pop culture? Because a lot of people like when you think of pop culture, like okay, like brain off. If it were like brain on, brain off, like brain off.
You're right. I mean, a lot of people think entertainment or pop culture is frivolous, and some of it is. But when I got into it, I never once asked somebody what they were wearing. I didn't care about that. What I cared about is that I saw pop culture as a mirror to where we were culturally and where we were going. So, for instance, do you remember when Kim Kardashian broke the internet with that Paper magazine cover?
Yes.
So all the comments on that Instagram were, I can't believe she's a mom. I can't believe she would post something like this. And I remember thinking, this is so interesting because people are not mad. I don't think that they're mad at that. I think they're mad about Kardashian culture and consumerism and the excess. And they were sort of jealous that, like, they came from reality TV and have all this wealth. I'm not sure that they're mad at moms. And if they are, what is that? We're really desexualizing moms in America. Why can't she be a mom and have that cover?
How have you navigated this industry, which, it's can be superficial, right? Or it can be looks based entertainment industry, but still making sure that you're bringing that, that hard hitting journalism to whatever conversation it is. Or more so, do you feel the pressure to make sure, hey, people know, like, I'm actually pretty smart. Like, I didn't get a degree for nothing. Like,
I did feel that way up until a few years ago because I've always been kind of larger chested, and it actually did make a difference because I think people kind of like saw me and didn't take me as seriously. And all I wanted to do was be taken seriously because I've always wanted to be like the millennial Barbara Walters. And so I interview politicians and authors and, I interview everybody, not just entertainers. And so I so badly wanted to be taken seriously. And then when I started doing therapy, everything sort of changed because I found that within myself. I saw myself. And so all of a sudden I didn't need validation from other people. And that was probably the biggest gift. But yes, I do think that, the whole ethos of Pretty Smart, which is that I interview women that put a new spin on pretty. They're pretty bold, pretty witty, pretty strong, pretty smart, because I think there's so many different kinds and important kinds of pretty. And so let's put a spin on that word. Yeah, it's interesting. I've never felt pressure. Like I remember early on, an online outlet, the one that hired me for the first time after the Simon Cowell thing, a few months in, they wanted me to I did a movie junket, and they wanted me to ask about somebody's divorce, and they had just like announced their divorce. And I said, I'm not comfortable asking about that.
It's like, oh yeah, we love that scene. And how about that divorce? Like, and how's your divorce going, by the way? Like, how do you just slide that in there?
It's, people ask me about journalism a lot, and I have like a few sort of pointers, and I have three main ones. And one of the three is always come from a place of kindness. And people may not agree, and there's different types of journalism, but my brand, my kind of journalism is always coming from a place of kindness. I felt like I get great answers from people if I come from kindness, and I can sleep at night if I come from a place of kindness. So to ask a question about somebody's divorce when they're promoting a movie did not feel kind to me. And they ended up firing me. They never used me again after that. To this day, I don't know if there was a right or wrong there. Maybe I could have asked it in a different way. Maybe I just wasn't seasoned enough, but I've never felt pressure. I always felt like I was the one, my face was on camera, my voice, and I wanted to feel good about what I was saying and doing.
Well, I think that's a bold chance or stance to take, because you hear so much criticism about like, oh, are journalists even journalists these days? Or like, are they reading a script, or are they pushing an agenda for, as we get to the like end of this interview, if you could go back to that 22-year-old that was, in LA, moved to LA, living in the garage, what would you say to her?
I believe in you.
And what would you think she'd say back to you? Tearjerker? No,
I believe you. I believe in you too, girlfriend. It's just a harder road than you might have thought it was going to be.
I'm still believing in you.
Yeah. Pretty smart was, it is the podcast that I wish I had in college. And so I just would love to connect with anybody, specifically college women, because I think it's really helpful. Like the people I interview and the information and stories they tell, like I wish I would have heard that. I think I would have been way more ahead.
So that's an invite to her DMs, her email.
Yeah. Subscribe to the pod for sure.
Yes. And that's, I'll put the symbols here. But thank you so much. And
of course, thanks for reaching out. And you have my email, so keep me posted on all that you're doing. I think you're going to do big things.
Well, thank you.